Very nice. Our next speaker this evening is actually going to be a little bit more of a serious presentation. Bryan Tracy worked his way through college as a yak milker. Acting CEO of Elcriton Incorporated, because I guess nobody really wants the job, so you're just kind of acting there. Presenting on behalf of the Delaware Bioscience Association, Bryan Tracy.
My presentation is so much different than everybody else's so far tonight. I'm here to talk about microbial technologies for a sustainable tomorrow. I actually work here in this building, and yes, I'm talking about bacteria, yeast, and so forth that are going to save you from your glutton and oil consumption and our usage of petroleum chemicals and so forth. We're talking about sustainability, energy, and industry. Production consumption while balancing out the environmental, economic, and social concerns. We're hoping to find somewhere in the middle, the positive middle of the three of those, we'll call the sustainable sweet spot, and that's what we're working towards. We're looking at fossil fuel sustainability, which is an oxymoron. So at this moment in time, we're looking towards renewables. It's an oxymoron for a lot of reasons. It's completely unsustainable in the case of environmental concerns, greenhouse gas emissions, extractive technologies, and catastrophes, which I don't really have to stress upon. Economic concerns. We're all paying a whole lot more for oil, which isn't necessarily just for the gas pump, but also for your milk and for clothing, which my girlfriend likes to dress my dog up with clothing all the time. And while it has no specials at this moment in time, it's because of gas prices. All right, social concerns as well. Again, this is another one of those things that you don't have to harp too much upon. Just look at Libya. Look at all the Middle East. You might have heard of a couple of these countries over the past 10 years, but it's not just right here at this point in time. It's been going on for the past 150 years. So the United Nations would suggest that sustainability is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So whether or not you believe in the greenhouse gas emissions, whether or not you believe in the economics and so forth, this is a fact. We've accumulated fossil fuels over the past 100 million years. However, in just the past 7 to 8 generations of industrialization, we've consumed all of them. Give it 2 more generations, and the third generations of people after us are going to be pissed because they're not going to be able to drive their cars. Not only are they not going to be able to drive their cars, they're not going to be able to buy the bottled water because you can't make the bottle. So I'm going to sit here and say today that microbial technologies, which we do, can and in fact will be a large slice of the replacement pie for fossil fuel technologies. Transportation in the form of biofuels, ethanol, and what have you. Electricity, microbial fuel cells, and replacements to petrochemicals. It's renewable in the fact that today's supply can be replenished tomorrow's supply can be replenished with today's consumption. Additionally, too, it's secure. We can all get some without having to fight. At the same point in time, too, we can do these in clean ways in which we're actually going to clean up the mistakes of all of our fossil fuel technology by implementing these tomorrow. So let's start here. This is the essential metabolism and the biosynthetic pathways, catabolic pathways of a typical microorganism. If you look at this, there's lots of chemicals. These guys are little chemical factories, which we can optimize all these things, and on top of that, we can put them into these. This is our partner in China who's producing these things at 800,000 gallon scale. One of these vessels is 800,000 milk jars in one. So over the course of a year, we're producing hundreds of millions of gallons of usable chemicals and alternatives to gasoline. At Elcriton, at our company, here actually situated in DBI, we're doing the research and development. We're creating molecular scale solutions to industrial scale problems. So we're making better microorganisms, which we then license to the folks who are doing this at massive scale. What we are doing, you guys might want to take notes on this for a second. We are expressing proteins, downregulating the expression of proteins, manipulating DNA, giving new DNA, deleting other DNA within a single microorganism to create novel, new, proprietary microorganisms that have the innate properties within themselves that are going to solve the economic hurdles of these huge industrial scale problems that DuPont and many others are facing right now at this very moment. And that, in fact, is what we are doing in licensing those technologies as we speak. So our first stop for our work is biofuels. The United States consumes well over 140 billion gallons of gasoline a year. They want to replace 16 billion gallons of that with what's called advanced biofuels. Last year we made 5 million. That's with an M. That's 3 orders of magnitude of where we want to be in 2022. How do you make a biofuel? Well, this is what it looks like, obviously. You take the leftovers after you harvest a cornfield, you crunch it up, you mix it with some water to loosen up the biomaterial. You go into a hydrolysis, When you look at your grass clippings, all that is polymeric sugar. If you burn that down to, or if you loosen it up, it'll go into its regular sugar, and then you go into a beer fermentation, which many of you guys are drinking right now. Separation and purification processes. At Elcriton, we are experts in hydrolysis and fermentation. We're creating microorganisms and unique ways of doing that. Why are we doing butanol? You guys all fill up your cars with 10% ethanol at this moment in time, I guarantee you. Butanol is more energy dense, so you won't be suffering on miles per gallon, and it uses the infrastructure of the United States. So we make fluorescent green bacteria, in fact, yes, that's what we do, and we license it to folks to make it at massive scale. We're in the process right now of commercializing biobutanol and expanding our chemical portfolio to look at other replacements to petroleum chemicals. On top of that, too, we're working to initiate our biomass program. We actually want to grow duckweed in lower state Delaware to clean up the Chesapeake Bay. It'll sequester lots of nutrients coming from all the chicken litter we produce here in the state. And on top of that, we're working with another company here in the Newark area to create new purification technology that's a real game changer. And it's going to establish a whole entire new industry here in Newark itself. So, thank you.
Nicely done. Anyway, who's following hashtag IN1 on Twitter? Raise your smartphone if you're following Twitter. Just for fun here. Let's see. Nancy Lee. Man, those 5 minutes go by. KVODE. Thanks, Rob Torno. I needed that laugh after a long day at work. Jess Lilly. Multiple and good uses. And from a look, God, do I have jock itch. So anyway, very nice tweets. What?